Welcome to the Ocean Community 50 Under 50 series, presented by the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce. The road to success starts at Valenti family of auto dealerships, and visibility along the journey increases greatly with the help of 321 Media. Ooh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce's 50 Under 50 celebration, brought to you by Valenti family of dealerships and 321 Media. My name is Ben Barber from 321, and today, as you all can see, I am very excited to be joined by Ruedi Hauser, the third.
Yes.
The third.
Yeah.
As today's honoree. How are you, Ruedi?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Now, you have had a remarkable request to start this show.
Yes. Yeah.
That I think is fantastic.
Okay.
No one else has requested this yet, and of course, I will do it if no one if it's requested. You've requested that I do not read your entire bio at you.
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna start with that.
So we're just gonna have a conversation.
I love it.
And I do want to say that you are fantastic. I've known you for quite a while peripherally.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I met you when you were in high school, and you just sort of volunteered for a show. I think you weren't involved.
Nope.
You just were friends with the people that were in the show when I was directing at Westerly High School. And Mr. DeAngelis absolutely loved you. So he was always, anytime you were walking down the line, Ruedi, get in here.
Oh yeah.
Just for no reason, just whatever. And you were always helpful. So you were fantastic then. You still are. And you have grown up to do so many great things at such a young age, including being a co-founder of 13th Hour Distilling. And obviously you've also worked in the family business at Hauser Chocolatier.
Oh yes.
So let's talk about it.
Awesome.
You're from Westerly.
I am.
You grew up here?
Yep. So I was born and raised here, and I got an opportunity to go away to school and in New Hampshire for a couple years, and I loved it so much down here. I just had to come back. We've got just about everything. Beaches, a bustling downtown. Just access to so many things. 95 is right there too, so get away whenever you need. It's a great place to be.
Now, you also Clean Transportation Program Manager at Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. Is that something you currently do now?
Yeah. So
what?
Yes. So
how
I work
many
in Boston.
Things can you possibly have, man?
Exactly. I'm starting to get to the point where maybe it's too much, but until I actually fall over, I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, so the day job is in Boston. I work for the state of Massachusetts doing clean energy work. So I work on our clean transportation team, and I do all kinds of, EV deployments, electric school buses primarily, and then doing a fair bit of travel too. So talking on panels around the country, talking about the work that we do, and, just excited about it. It's a great space to be in.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea.
I got to hit all the different interest areas, right?
So you were like, okay, listen, I love Westerly.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school in New Hampshire, love New Hampshire. Let me meet in the middle and work a day job in Boston.
Yeah.
So do you still live down here?
I do, yes. So
you travel to Boston every day?
No. It's a really nice gig. I go to Boston once a week, which has been so nice. Yesterday I was in Boston. So I go up once a week, see my team, get our stuff done, and then I'm remote the rest of the week. So it's
that is nice.
Pretty sweet gig.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Have you always been interested in the environment and clean energy?
I think tangentially through a lot of the work that I've done. I just love being outside. I go hiking, running whenever I can. We've got the beautiful beaches here, and it definitely means a lot to me to, preserve that beauty, right? So, working in a space where I get to touch, have a really tangible impact on the environment, I think has been really exciting. We're doing a lot of our metrics tracking right now, and, just gauging how effective our programs have been. And, the carbon emissions reductions they're tangible, and, it shows that we're putting our money where our mouth is. And, I feel great about it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I got a little distracted just now because I'm in the Google Doc for the bios, and Grace just entered the Google Doc and started touching stuff, and I'm like, no, don't mess with Rudy's. I'm in the middle of this.
Send a quick note, right?
Yeah, just hey, please don't.
Stand by.
She moved on. She moved on. But when the little cursor moved over to you, I'm like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
So
That's
okay.
funny.
So what made you want to open up 13th Hour Distilling when you have such a big day job?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. Maybe
Why?
it's a little bit of insanity, maybe a little bit of mad science. It's there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of chemistry. I was never good at science in school, but it was always interesting to me. So, for me, this is an opportunity to do small batch science experiments. Right? We primarily do rum right now, and it's a cocktail or a spirit rather that I've grown up around. Racing boats in high school and college, especially in college, right? A lot of the prizes were rum bottles. So,
right.
It's a spirit that I've been familiar with. I, enjoy on my own. And then, now an opportunity to actually craft a spirit the way that I like it, and keeping it small batch. So it's more personal,
Yeah.
It's a personal interest,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I still think that we need to do that show, the
Yes.
13th Hour at 1 a.m.
Yes.
And
I
we
think
do the
so.
show then.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
So you've also been involved with the chamber forever.
It's
forever.
That's how it feels. Yeah.
I think you were born into the chamber.
Yep. Basically, right.
I think that your parents dropped you off on the doorstep
Yeah.
at One Chamber Way and were like, he's here to volunteer.
Exactly. A little tag for Lisa Kinnicky. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, no, but you literally, I mean, obviously River Glow, like, could not happen without you at this point.
Yeah.
The duck race, but also everything else. How do you find time to volunteer while also doing all of these other things?
Yeah. I mean, you got to prioritize the things that you love, right? So my schedule may be insane, but I'm always going to find time to do the things that I enjoy, right? So growing up, service and community were huge, just communicated from both of my parents. My mom was super involved in scouting. She wrote a scouting column in the newspaper for a while. I think she reached out to, at the time it was Dave Tranquita, and said, hey, this is something I'd love to do. And I just remember, growing up, she'd be on the couch at like 1 a.m, just typing furiously. Oh, the deadline is like 3 hours ago. I got to get this done. Right. And, it just showed me, she had so many different things going on all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is massively impressive. I want to emulate that. She was a role model for me. So,
yep.
Then being introduced to the chamber by my father at a really young age, my siblings and I think it just drove home that service and community aspect. The chamber at this point has basically been a second family. I've seen so many people come and go through the years, and I've made some really, really great lifetime friends, which has been fantastic. So it always makes it easier, when you're hanging around people that are great.
It's awesome. Now it's funny because at the end of this, and you mentioned it a little bit, in his downtime, Ruedi can be found running, hiking, boating, or spending time with his pup Penny.
Yes.
I want to talk about Penny in a second, but in downtime? What downtime? Because I think that in your downtime, you decided to open up a distillery, like an insane person, and then volunteer and oh my god.
Yeah. It's about finding the little moments in between, like when the still's running, I may be reviewing contracts for my other gig, or, planning out my next, 3.5 months. Yeah. I'm crazy booked out, but I love it. Every moment is just, it's an energy packed, and, it keeps me going. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you, other than being 28, how do you find the energy to do all of this stuff?
A lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
I get in trouble for that one a little bit, but no, it's energizing what I do. I
Yeah.
find interest in everything. And I realized this very early on that my brain doesn't love spending time on tasks for extended periods of time. So
Okay.
having super diverse interests, right? I
Yeah.
get to bounce from one thing to the next and I'm constantly engaged. It's
That's I feel
hacking
that.
the brain, right?
I feel that. Yeah,
Yeah.
my brain does not want to concentrate on anything for
No.
too long.
No.
But it can concentrate on a lot of stuff for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit of time.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, so your parents are both incredibly hard workers. Um, let's talk about Hauser Chocolatier for a
Yeah.
little bit. Growing up in that, did it feel like growing up in like Willy Wonka situation?
I
Like,
don't think I realized what I had access to
yeah,
until I stepped away for a little bit. But when I tell you kid in a candy store, that's exactly how it was growing up. It was the coolest thing, you know, whenever friends would come over, oh, do you want to see the chocolate factory? Oh, I can give you a tour. And at like 7, 8 years old, I was super excited to, you know, show, oh, this machine does this. Oh, this is where we make the truffles. You know,
yeah,
it was so much fun. But yeah, funny enough, whenever we did bring, you know, friends or whoever over, you know, they'd always first comment is, oh my God, it smells so much like chocolate. At some point I got nose blind to it. I don't even notice it anymore.
yeah,
But
that makes sense.
yeah, it was so much fun growing up with that.
Has it ruined all chocolate for you? I mean, you're like
I
if you're
might be biased.
if you're traveling like for your if you know if you're traveling for your
Yeah.
job and you're like somewhere across the country giving a talk and like somebody hands you a Hershey bar, you're like, what is this crap?
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, you know, take it graciously and
Yeah,
then
and
slide
then
it
you
in
just
the pocket.
like, yeah. Anybody else want this?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Exactly.
just don't feed it to a dog and you're good.
Yeah, right. It has definitely ruined me a little bit. But
I had not had Hauser chocolate
no kidding.
ever until this year. Last
No
year.
kidding.
Until last year.
Okay. How did that happen?
Until last year, we were doing a show, and I can't believe I had never had Hauser chocolate. I was like, I've had Hauser chocolate. Like and someone was doing a show, and they came in and they brought it as a Christmas gift.
Oh, nice.
And they sat it down, and the show was happening, and I was sitting over on the couch, and I was like, well, I was like, this is so now.
Yep.
All other chocolate
You're
has been
converted.
ruined for me.
That's it.
Yeah. So that was a true, I was like, wow, I can't believe I've known it my entire life and never had it. And I don't understand how that's possible.
I will say it's definitely a hidden gem. I mean, I come across people when I'm working in the store there sometimes, you know, all the time. I've never heard of this place. I didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
You know, it's tucked away over by the airport, and it's
it is tucked away over by the airport. But that you know, that area is getting more businesses and more all of that stuff.
There's a lot more traffic over there.
There is a lot more traffic. Yeah. Tom Harvey Road is a lot more. It's a lot more bustling than it was when I worked at the Paragon a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So,
yeah. Wow, that's been a while.
It has been a while. I miss it though.
Yeah.
I always wanted to like buy that building and have offices in the Paragon offices when it closed.
Yeah, right.
Because then when they closed and then they sold to another company, Dave and I got hired as two of the like call center people to come back. So I got to like be one of like 3 people in the entire office building, and we were like,
huge building.
I shouldn't say this. This chair, this chair was in the CEO's office at the Paragon.
Yeah.
And I just took it.
Yeah.
Because no one was. Yeah. So anyway,
souvenir.
statute of limitations.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever.
That's awesome.
Maybe I will edit this episode.
Yeah. Right.
So, okay. Do you have a favorite thing that you do? And are you still involved at all with the chocolate business?
Yeah. My my work from home office is at the chocolate factory, so I'm there every day. I'm not in Boston.
Okay.
And I'll pop down to the store every once in a while. My sister and I will run the store on Saturdays, which is so much fun. I get to spend time with family that, you know, otherwise we're all working in different areas. So it's a nice way to connect.
You have a brother and a sister?
I've got 2 younger brothers.
2 younger brothers and a sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And your dad is still involved in the chocolate factory. Your mom passed away.
Yep.
tragically.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It was a
I
young age
appreciate
for
that.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, but um,
And
I
my
know
grandparents are still there.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Both of them are now over 80, and they're there every single day.
It's the chocolate. The
It is the
chocolate keeps
chocolate.
them
Keeps
young.
them young. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly it. I
that's
will say it was the coolest experience growing up, watching my grandfather, as a master in his craft. He grew up in Switzerland, and he tells us this story about how when he was in kindergarten, he used to play hooky all the time. There was like an entire semester he didn't go to school, and he was at the baker. And at one point, his teacher, is chatting with his mother and like, oh, I didn't realize, Ruedi got taken out of school. And his mom was so confused, couldn't figure out why or why she was saying that. Talked to my grandfather later on and found out that he was spending his entire day over at the baker's, just learning baking, learning the craft. And, that just, I guess, proliferated through the years. And, he did his internships or his apprenticeships in Switzerland, and then he was a chef on a cruise line for a while, and then started a catering business that my
wow.
grandmother and my father worked at, and then the chocolate factory. So watching him do all the hand chocolate work through the years while I was growing up, unbelievable stuff to watch.
Wow.
Have you ever seen those videos online that are like I don't know the specific guy's name, but he's doing crazy chocolate sculptures all the time?
Yes, I have.
That was
Yep.
watching my grandfather grow up. That was wild.
Wow.
And now my brother Ravi and Asha, she just graduated from Johnson and Wales for culinary. Watching them do it now has been so cool. They did it was like a little Easter display for the Week of Pog Inn, and they made chocolate bunnies. They had a giant chocolate egg. It was the coolest thing. So
yeah,
it's been fun.
Man, that sounds incredible. Now,
Yeah.
are you legally obligated to have a son named Ruedi at this point?
If I have a son,
If you have a son, are you legally obligated?
I don't know. I may get pressure.
Yeah,
you
might
to
get some
keep it
pressure to
going.
keep it going.
Yeah, but we'll see.
So inappropriate question. So, and the family, are they big fans of the distillery?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I so co-founded with my father and my brother Ravi, who's also at the chocolate factory. I do all the distilling and the day-to-day work, but they help me develop recipes. They do a lot of the sourcing of raw materials, just getting everything ready. They help me with packaging, that kind of stuff.
That's got to be fun.
It's so much fun, especially at that scale. It's all super hands-on, right?
Yeah.
The last time we did a bottling run, it was myself and Ravi and then his wife Sarah, at the distillery until like midnight, just listening to music, hanging out, labeling, bottling. It was great. It was so much fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that your family activities together are just like, hey, let's just start another business.
Yeah, right.
Create
super
create
casual, right?
create our own rum brand.
I will say, I think a lot of that stems from kind of how we grew up. We'd
Of
go
course.
and do. It was always so exciting. Dinners at the factory, right? We'd get pizza, and at the age that we were at, doing a lot of shipping, we my brothers and I would have competitions to see how many boxes we could put together, and just prep for the next day. And obviously my father got a kick out of it, but for us it was super exciting to feel like we were participating and adding to the family business. So
this work ethic is generational.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This work ethic is intrinsic in the Hauser family.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
And so that explains why you're at the chocolate factory, also running a distilling business, and going to Boston once a week and traveling the country, giving talks about clean energy and
And obviously I have to take the clean energy aspect home, right? We've got solar on the roof at the chocolate factory, offsetting the majority of our energy usage. I still a couple hours a week work for the school department, working on their electrification transition. So
the local school department.
Yeah.
What?
So before I was in Massachusetts, I used to work at the bus yard for 3.5 years. It was a lot of fun, and clearly could not get out of it. So I'm still 1 foot in the door, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
So that's a fourth job.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
Just start keeping tally.
Yeah. Do you want to work at 321 just because you're
Yeah,
here? I
you
mean,
know
you
what?
could probably
Why
do
not?
a better
I've
job at
never-
it than I.
Listen, I've never worked at a radio spot, so why not? Actually, you're gonna love this.
Oh,
My
geez.
father was a disc jockey in college.
Ooh.
So every year they do a reunion, and he gets back on the radio, and they dust off the old equipment. It's the coolest thing to listen to him, because you can hear it in his voice. He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
That's awesome.
So maybe that's in my blood too. So
all right, well, you're hired.
Okay, done.
It doesn't pay well.
That's why I do 4 jobs, right?
Yes. Oh man, this is. Where do you like to go hiking?
I love New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Absolutely love it. Can't get enough.
what part?
So hiking, I go
Drop
up
me
to
a pin.
the White Mountains,
Ooh.
and then up north of Laconia. I've got a group of friends that we just planned a trip. We're gonna go up there over the 4th of July for a couple days and hike like 3 of the 4,000 footers. So it'll be fun. That's,
no, that sounds like something I would do for fun too.
Just for ha-has, right?
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
It's beautiful up there. Absolutely beautiful. I definitely miss the 4 seasons being up in New Hampshire. So, I'd go up every couple weeks, and it's been a lot of fun.
You don't think that we get 4 seasons? Yeah, it's Rhode Island. We get 4 seasons in a day.
We get okay. Yes, that's true. That's true. We get a lot more rain now. I enjoy the snow. I enjoy looking at it, but then leaving and coming back.
That's true. Yeah,
snow is nice.
I love snow for the day it snows, and then I want it to be.
It's got to be gone
the next day.
Yep, that's exactly it.
I want a light dusting of snow, and then goodbye.
Yep. That's exactly it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that needs to happen.
Uh-huh.
Do your friends require that you bring chocolate with you when you go visit them?
It might be a prerequisite. Yes. Yes. Yep. That is definitely on the.
Ruedi, they're
the
just
menu.
using you to get
I know,
the
right?
chocolate and the rum, the chocolate and rum.
We do bring the rum up there too. Yes.
I like that now, do you have a family business motto that we need to only create businesses that are universally loved?
Universally enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Should,
wider market.
Should we get into construction? Should we do excavating? No. Chocolate and alcohol.
Absolutely.
That's it.
There's a surprising number of places that combine those 2 specific things. I'm thinking of a couple of places in Mystic, that I just recently was at, that very specific chocolate and truffles and then cocktails. Yeah. I'm like, wow, okay, so we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Now, are there any thoughts of creating a dining experience location? Maybe
that might be in the future plans. Yes,
because I don't think that you're busy enough.
No, of course
I think that you need at least 3 more projects.
Correct. When I figure out how to clone myself, then we'll do that.
I would not be surprised if you would be the person that would figure out how to clone yourself.
Why not, right?
I think it's possible.
I'll volunteer for the trials, right?
I already don't know how you're in as many places. I don't know how you got here to do this today.
Squeezing it in, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm running late. Oops.
Yeah,
but we
right.
make it work.
I appreciate it. What did it mean to you to be, or what was your reaction when you found out that you were one of the 50 under 50?
Really, really grateful. I mean, there are some heavy hitters on that list, and truthfully, I feel like I'm super early on in my career, and I'm getting started in a bunch of areas, and to be recognized alongside people that have had lifelong achievements, that's unbelievable for me. I definitely didn't expect it, but very grateful for the recognition. And honestly, it's drawing a lot of light to how insane I am. Just keeping the schedule that I keep.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know. It's been really, really fun to to see the comments on the list that came out of all the awardees. So, there's a lot of really exciting stuff that's being done.
I knew half of the things that you do.
Oh.
I knew half of the things that you do. and I'm floored by the other
Now I'm
half.
exposed, right?
I was, well, because you came in and you did an episode of Business Over Breakfast
I
with
did,
us.
yes, yeah.
And that was fun and sort of off the rails completely.
Completely off the rails.
Completely off the rails,
Loved
which is
it.
how I like to go.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun
that's
like
just
that.
yeah.
Off the cuff.
But I was doing an episode of this yesterday, and we were running way over, and I was like, you have no idea how much I stopped myself from derailing the last 10 minutes just so that we could get through this person's answers, because everything they said, I just wanted to joke around with them.
Yeah, exactly.
I like, there are people that you connect with and you just like to have fun with, and I think it was me, you, and Maria.
Oh yeah.
And of course that's going to be
Just
ridiculous
every
time.
Every time. It was great.
So, but we didn't even touch on the other thing. Like, that's what I'm amazed about. I'm amazed that you were in here and did a full hour-long interview with us, and we didn't talk about your day job once.
No.
We didn't talk about any of that stuff at all.
I will say I do enjoy a midday break, just chatting,
Yeah.
Whatever comes up. Let's roll with it.
It's nice.
It
is
is
nice. Boating.
Boating, yes.
Obviously, you are a linchpin for the chamber in the River Glow and Duck Race.
Our armada.
Yeah. You've been on the water forever?
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on the water there before I was even allowed to drive the boats. But yeah, I grew up sailing. I grew up racing. My grandparents, they moved to Westerly they moved to, the Groton area because they wanted to keep a sailboat. So I grew up exposed to that lifestyle, and I caught the sailing bug. So when I was in high school, we had our sailing team, and it was a lot of fun. I took sailing lessons when I was younger at the Mystic Seaport. And then that grew into, racing in college, which was absolutely fantastic. So
that sounds insane to me. Of all the things we've talked about, racing sailboats sounds like the most challenging.
Arguably, yes. Of all the things that I do, that is definitely on the list. I will say though, I have had some pretty close calls out on the water.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time. So we do a series of racing called Frostbiting in early February, March-ish.
Oh God.
I wanted to get a jump on the season. Don't know why, but a friend and I went out in January, just out in Narragansett Harbor, out in the Bay Area here in Watch Hill. And we were having a great time. Good wind, nothing too crazy. We were out there ripping around. It was fantastic. We had our dry suits and everything, well prepared, life jackets, the whole 9 yards, all of our safety equipment. But we were ripping around out there, and then all of a sudden, we got this massive sustained gust of wind. It devolved into chaos pretty quick. We tried getting, the mainsail down so we wouldn't flip, but we ended up, flipping 2 or 3 times. And, we finally got the boat righted. And, at this point it was like, all right, we just got to get our bearings. And, we ripped one of our sails. It was crazy. So we ended up, just running aground on some ice, right outside of Watch Hill. And I guess a neighbor or somebody had seen, we had our radio, so we were and our cell phones, so we weren't panicked. We were having fun. We put the sail up and over the mast.
We were having
it was
fun.
Like a little tent.
If anyone could see my face for the last 5 minutes, my jaw has been on the floor.
It was so much fun. We were prepared, right? That's the key. The wetsuit, or rather the dry suits. We had our warm gear on. We had our safety equipment. We had our life jackets. But we were, we took the tent, put it over the mast, and we were just sitting in there like it was a little tent, right?
Yeah.
Waiting for our rescue. So we called towboat, and they say, yeah, we don't have anybody in the water in your area. Please hold. We're calling the Coast Guard. So a cutter, or one of their fast boats, 30-foot whatever, comes out from New London, ripping down the waterway. We see the right around sunset too, we see the lights, the flashing lights in the horizon. We're just sitting there having a good time. Meanwhile, it's like Watch Hill Fire is set up on land, getting ready to do like a land extrication from the vessel. It was It was wild. We took pictures. We were having a good time.
Oh my God.
I know. So, we get on board the Coast Guard vessel and they're like, so, you guys are nuts. You know that, right? But they were joking with us, laughing. They were like, hey, you had your safety equipment. They towed our boat back and it was good. But I've had some close calls out there. So it's always a good story, right?
Yeah, it was a great story, but I'm horrified by that just because, yeah.
We were, no, this is the funny part of the story. We were, I know it continues. So we definitely weren't like supposed to be out there. I was still in high school at the time.
You weren't, well, wait. You were in high school when this happened? I was in
high school. Yeah, I was a senior in high school. Yeah. So much fun. So
Ruedi.
Yes. It was a choice.
Ruedi.
But fun was had by all. We made it back in one piece.
Jesus, Ruedi.
I know. So we were out there and, my friend definitely probably was not supposed to be out there. But we were like, all right, so we're not telling anybody. We just like, we're good. That's the big thing. We're safe. We're fine. We're back on shore. No big deal. Her parents, the next day, we were having dinner at her house and her parents put a newspaper between us. There was an article in the paper in like something about the emergency response section. 2 sailors stranded in the harbor. Coast Guard had to come out. Watch Hill Fire was ready to go in. The article made it sound so bad. And they were like, so you thought you were going to get away with this, huh? We were like, that wasn't us. Not at all. Totally fine. But it was a good story. It was a good time. A lot of lessons learned. Next time I'm bringing a motor.
Oh my God.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Well, Ruedi,
yeah.
Everything I know about sailing is I learned from the song Sloop John B. So, I would never find myself in that predicament. My jaw is on the floor so much that it almost fell down to Pizza Place. What a story. Can't believe you were both in high school. That's crazy.
We were 18. That's
insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so good.
Not only are you one of the busiest men in town, but you just had the craziest story that's been told on 50 Under 50. Anything you want to promote before we go?
Man, I don't know. Oh, yes, actually. So at the time that we're recording this,
yes.
My sister keeps up our family's booth at Virtu, which is this upcoming weekend, right? So I guess even beyond this weekend, whenever this airs, we are always collecting either donations or selling prints of my mother's artwork to fund a scholarship that gets that's given out at Athena every single year in October. So, it's managed through the chamber, so you can contact Lisa there, or somehow find me if I have a spare minute. But if you're going through the
contact
park,
Lisa.
Yeah, exactly. Contact Lisa. But if you're going through the park, yep, we keep up the tradition there. So we do the pen and ink, and my sister does all of the henna art. So that's my shameless plug for that.
Wow. All right. I am going to move you up on the list here for the schedule so that we get that out before Virtue.
Okay.
So
much appreciated.
Of course. Ruedi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you.
Eat all the Hauser chocolate, drink all of the 13th hour. And we need to do that show where we come in and do a tasting.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to Valenti Family of Dealerships, for 321 Media and the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce. My name is Ben Barber. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.